everyone. Good evening. My name is Obukola Dewi, and I'm the CEO of Supreme Education Foundation Schools. It's always exciting to be here every evening. It's Friday, it's 5 o'clock on Supreme Leverage, and today we are going to be discussing the quest for perfect education. And then, like we always do every week, we always bring the best to talk to us about it. But before we do, I'll first like to say Happy Teachers' Day to all my colleagues in the teaching profession. We do such wonderful, such fantastic work. And it's the most noble profession because it is the only profession that believes and knows that they are equipping people to be better than who they are. So indeed, we are very noble. So to all my colleagues, Happy Teachers' Day. May the Lord in his mercy indeed continue to reward us for all our hard work. And so before we dive in today, as usual, we will be going for the news. And today we have someone new with us, one of our wonderful teachers from Supreme Education Foundation School, Mrs. Olabisi Oshiborade. Welcome to Supreme Leverage, and over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. You're welcome to Supreme News with Olabisi Oshibowale. Now to the headlines. President Buhari celebrates teachers in an unusual way on Teachers' Day. Nigerian lady win big, graduate with 5.0 CGPA. Nigeria set to receive World Bank 486 project loan. Buhari presents Nigeria's 2021 budget to National Assembly. Now to the news. Supreme Education Foundation school students are adapting to new normal. They have settled in perfectly into the new session with all the learning activity in top gear. With our modern day technical facilities, highly skilled and professional educators, your children can learn with flexibility you want and get the support he or she need to succeed in a great citadel of learning. Wouldn't you rather come on board to give your child an unbeatable academic experience? President Buhari celebrates teachers in an unusual way. On Monday, 5th October, President Muhammadu Buhari announced a special salary scale for Nigerian teachers in commemoration of the World Teachers' Day. In addition to this, the president has also approved automatic employment to students of education upon graduation. This was disclosed by the Minister of Education, Alhaji Adamu, on Monday to mark the World Teachers' Day celebration in the Nigeria capital, Abuja. Also, free tuition fee and automatic admission to the biological children of teachers were the president. Nigerian lady wins big in Russia, graduates with 5.0 CGPA. A lady named Ogechukwu Ozoani, who is from Enugu State, has graduated from Kazan National Research Technology University in Russia with 5.0 CGPA. She has been given scholarship for a master's and PhD. Ozoani is one of the Nigerians in diaspora who in recent times have been excelling academically and bringing home several accolades. Nigeria is set to receive World Bank $486 million electricity loan. The federal government stated that with this loan, it intends to upgrade electricity transmission, substation, and lines across the nation. President Buhari presents Nigeria's 2021 budget to National Assembly. The estimated budget expenditure is expected to be about 13.8 trillion, according to the medium-term expenditure framework approved by the Senate and House of Representatives. President Buhari is also expected to address in his speech the 2020 budget performance, recent economic crisis with regard to crude oil price and the COVID-19 pandemic, among others. Food for thought. Nothing will work unless you do. That will be all on today's segment on news. Back to you, Mrs. Adewi.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Oshibowale, for that. Very interesting. I am particularly excited about what President Buhari is doing in the education sector. Kudos to him. Kudos to the Minister for Education, Madam. So how do you think teachers are going to feel about special salary scale. What do you think about that?
I think teachers should be encouraged. Teachers will be encouraged with the new salary scale, and this will also encourage them to probably upgrade themselves professionally.
I think so too. I'm also excited about the fact that the fresh graduates will gain automatic employment. I mean, that is less worry for those in the teaching profession, knowing that the moment out of school, you have a job waiting for you. I think that is fantastic. Thank you very much, Mrs. Oshibale. It's such a pleasure having you on Supreme Leverage.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Okay, and so quest for perfect education. Now, if you follow me on Instagram, when I posted this for this week, I said, is it possible to have perfect education? Are we dreaming? Is it realistic? I'm not sure. But then, of course, we have the perfect person to talk to us about it. And it's no other person but Okashi. It is such a pleasure having her with us. She has over 21 years of experience in education. She has spearheaded several initiatives revolutionizing and impacting over 3,500 educators to restructure their school systems, which is very key, through training, consulting, resource development, coaching programs, curriculum review. Oh yes, how much we need that. And school assessment. She is the CEO of School Resource Center. So she's full of resources. So when I reel out Instagram, my Twitter's handle, please just make sure that you follow so that you can get a lot of resources. And she's the convener of Nigeria's most dynamic and largest education expos in the North, the annual School Needs Expo, and this is the 10th year running of that. Well done. She's an educational professional. She has a degree in education, curriculum instruction and assessment, educational leadership, and several certificate courses. She's also a qualified workplace assessor. Now I need you now for that. She's just completed a PGCE at the University of Cambridge in educational assessment and examinations now, and she's delving deeper into a postgraduate course in international business. Do you rest at all, So dividing our time between Cambridge and Abuja for the past 2 years, shuttling between two continents, successfully managed a team of staff remotely and using online courses to programs to equip business owners to run better systems. Okashi is a life coach. She's a consultant. She's the author. She's a customer experience advocate, course creator, curriculum developer, early childhood education advocate. Did I not tell you we always have the best on Supreme Leverage? Please follow her on Twitter. She's Okashi everywhere. She's all over the place, So please follow on Instagram, on FB, on Twitter, and LinkedIn. And we are excited to have you this evening. Thank you for joining us on Supreme Leverage. It's such a pleasure having you this evening. So what is your true definition of education?
I think, thank you. First of all, thank you so much for this privilege. I'm really honored to be here. And I was watching the video of your, the school. I was like, oh my God, I wish I could be, a little, go back to secondary or something,
I know.
So amazing. So wonderful. So I think education for me, it encompasses much more than just schooling. Schooling is when you're talking about, going to a formal setting, you're going to school. But education, I think, is it's a mindset that we need to adopt. We need to adopt that mindset where we're picking out things to learn from our everyday life, where we're determined that every day we're going to improve ourselves. Okay, so if people have that mindset, so whether you're in school or not, whether you're in a physical school or not, you will continue to grow. Yeah. So when I say education, I think it's what is like the umbrella over every other thing, the schooling.
Every other thing.
Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you. So then, can you paint a portrait of how our pursuit in education should be like? What should it be like? What should be the person? What do we do? How do we go about it?
So is that us as parents or as educators?
So you have to put on two hats now because our audience, we have the parents watching, we
Okay.
have the educators watching. So having that perspective from both points of view.
Okay. Okay, lovely. So let me start with educators. So educators. So when people when someone is starting a school or a school is running, you know, we want to believe that you originally there was a need for your particular school. Okay, so that's why you can have like maybe 10 schools, same street, and they're all full. They're all full. Everybody has a little thing that they're offering that people know about. Okay, so what is perfect to you? What is I'm using the word perfect in quotes. Every time I say perfect, imagine there's a quote there. So so what works for you might not make sense to anybody. And for example, I've seen people maybe on this side of the world, they say, you know what, I want my child to come back to Nigeria where they would discipline them. Okay. So I've heard people actually say, I've had parents come to me because I have a lot of parents who also do call and we help with placements. And they say, okay, I actually want a school where they would flog these children. And we're saying, no, you know what, you know, it's banned and all. And some parents are like, no, you don't understand. I need, you know, so some people are looking for a school where it's hardcore. Okay. And some people want something a bit more global. All right. So it's when I've been able to find that match to what it is that I need, that I can say, I can breathe a little bit and say, okay, I've met that. And then on the parents part, we want to believe that you have considered every single factor, your family situation, your budget, your capacity, the number of children, the place you want your children to be. So that's why people make the effort. Maybe they say, I want my child in an international curriculum because I want them to go and do their A levels abroad, or I want them to go and do this. Okay, so everyone has a different definition of what they call perfection. And so as educators, you must know that you were created for a particular purpose and a particular set of people. All right. You're created for a particular need. And the same thing now with parents. There's a school for you. There's a quote I always say, there is no perfect school, but there is a school that is perfect for you. Okay. So some of you may have 5 children. You want all your kids to go through the same, this thing. Oh, there you are. Good. Yeah. So I was saying, yeah, so you may have 5 children or 4, and we want all of them to go through the same school. We want them to all be in the same school. I mean, that's a typical thing for most people. But sometimes you may have a child who has a particular need or a particular strength or, you know, or different. So it's really important that you really study each of your children as individuals, you know.
And then, so in other words, you're actually saying what I usually tell people about schools is actually prescriptive. It's according to your child's needs. So, so not one size does not fit all. So looking at the needs of your child and then looking for a suitable place for that child to live. So like what you just rightly said as well about parents talking about, I want my child to go back to Nigeria where the child will be flogged, where the child will be at everything. One of the things I believe it also does for the children is they actually begin to think, yes, that Nigeria is a scary place. While we were in the UK with my kids as well, I would tell other parents, no, don't say that in front of my child because Nigeria is actually not a prison. It's not a cell. It's not somewhere you used to threaten a child to be straight. It's not a place to tell a child, to tell them that, look, you're doing this. Oh, you're mocking about. Don't worry, you're on the next flight to Nigeria. Because it's so automatically that child believes that this is the place where you punish someone. This is the place where you get the reward for being bad. That's why they bring those children to Nigeria and they can't settle down to actually learn. And I know that for some of them, the ideas that they have in their mind is they actually do not want the school, they want the education, the environment. I believe that I said for my children, the best thing I did for them before they moved back to England was they came to Nigeria and they spent 3 years. And in that 3 years, I believe that it was total education for them because they had balanced.
Very true.
View about lives. They saw so many things that they were not used to. And so when they moved back, they appreciated what happened. They understood the value of good education. And so a child is not thinking, well, I'm okay. I could work in McDonald's. I could work in KFC, Asda's. I mean, it's not that difficult. But then when they come to the other side and view the other side, and they get the thirst and the drive to really want to succeed and to do well. So yeah, so putting on the art of the parents and everything, education actually needs to be holistic. That is what I'm getting from what you're saying. It is an holistic thing. It is not just about the school for the child. So you, from your engagement and experience in the sector, where should our focus be centered on?
As a nation, or is that us?
Okay, something is flying overboard and is affecting my hearing. Okay, so yes, we said something now. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was asking, so is that for us as a nation, right? Or us as maybe school leaders?
Yes. So, I mean, Nigeria is 60, so we are still in that celebrating mode now. So we're going to be putting on the two hats again. As a nation, where should our focus be? Considering as well, you worked in the past 10 years looking at the Expo Center, in education, you worked in that sector in Nigeria. In the northern side, especially that dictates, I mean, that is a part of NIA that dictates a lot about what goes on in the nation as a whole. And you work in that sector, you're in Abuja. So putting on both as well. And then I believe that when we know what the focus should be as a nation, it will also help us to streamline as school leaders on what the focus should be, because of course the nation has the big focus, but then we are the little grains that amounts up the hill that forms the true, that makes the impact in education.
Thank you so much. I love that question. That's really actually good. One of the things that I also like speaking about is for us, I think as a nation. So at the moment I'm here in the UK, and I've also been in a lot of countries in general, and I like to study education systems. And one thing you find is that when you go to other countries, you don't necessarily see signs that say things like British International or British Curriculum School in a place that is not in the UK. But you find that very rampant with us in Nigeria. We have
Nigeria.
If it's not international, then it has it written down there, British and Montessori or British and that, which is all fair and good. It's good that we want to be global. But I think one thing we should be focusing on is actually establishing exactly what Nigeria stands for, exactly what let's call it the Nigerian brand. Okay. In music, for example, Nigeria is excelling. We actually have a brand. We have people representing us around the world. Everywhere I go now, here I walk on the street and they're actually playing Nigerian music, which I wouldn't normally listen to, but I'm just happy to hear it in other parts of the world. So for education, we need to be able to come together and decide what it is. Like what I was giving the example about saying, when people say that thing and say, I will send you back to Nigeria, I find it very heartbreaking, because I'm like, you're already ruining the whole thing. We need to be able to establish those values again. We need to be able to establish the patriotism, people to be able to actually, something, in America, with God bless America. Everyone says from birth. Okay, but I think some of the first things our kids say, it really depends. Children at the young ages are still saying, Niger, this and this. You've interviewed most kids, they have those kind of things. These are all foundational. It may seem like it's not important. We know all the subjects are important, and we know that we should be looking at technology and all the futuristic things. But we have a foundational matters to deal with. We have foundational matters to deal with. I remember in those times when we were young and we were schooling in Nigeria, it was very different. Public schools were like a dream, the private, everywhere was beautiful. So we can't really, if we don't dig up that foundation and really, heal the rot. If we're not able to heal that rot, then we shouldn't really be. It's good that we should be going forward and all that. The technology is excellent, bringing all that in. But I think we should be able to find out what exactly was the foundational problem. And then everyone must try to an extent to speak a similar language when it comes to branding Nigerian education. So if in the public school they're teaching children to bless the nation, for example, so say, speak into the nation, those kind of things, build up the values. When you go to places, don't steal. I mean, if it's not yours, don't take it. Okay, so those simple things, because education has the power to transform, and it's not a cliche. Many countries, what they do is that you recite things so much that you are able
Comes
to
up after you. Yeah.
able to get so used to it. You build up these things in the children. You want to build up that nature that would cause people to want to do better, would want to not destroy property, would, so those kind of things.
I'm so excited about your point. It's nice and it's refreshing to see someone actually identify this issue. I really feel like we're kindred spirits because this has been my issue about the educational system in Nigeria. We love everything foreign. Oh, it's the Finnish education system. It's the British curriculum. It's the Canadian curriculum. What is the problem with the Nigerian curriculum? Now, if we remember clearly, about some few years back when Babatunde Fashola was the governor of Lagos State.
Yes.
And he started the Eko Nibaje.
Oh, yeah.
And I've said it over in this program. And there was this team spirit. Everybody felt I'm a part of Lagos. And then they say Kone Baje, and then everybody says Oh Baje T. And so they were all conscious of, no, we can't do this, we can't pee on the road, we can't throw this on the floor because Kone Baje. And I don't understand. We then have another governor, and then they had to change it. We had another governor, they had to change it. Why can't we stick? And that is the problem. Everybody is fighting so much for identity. We really have an identity crisis. That is the problem. I got back into the country about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I was at the airport, and they were announcing flights, and their flights was announced in English, and then the next thing was announced in French. And at that point, I said, when did we start speaking French in Nigeria? Why wasn't it announced in Yoruba? Why wasn't it announced in Igbo or in Hausa? Why French? We should be, so we do have serious, and that is the problem with the foundation, because we are raising children that do not feel like a part of the system. So they want the British curriculum, and then once they are old enough and they are able to get out of the country, then the Nigeria seems like a dump, and then they want to be there, they want to go to the other place. So that is really the foundation, that is the rot in the foundation that you're asking us as a nation that we need to address, we need to come together and address. I mean, the Finnish education, it was planned for them and finished. The British curriculum was planned for them. They identified the errors, they identified the issues the ills in their society, and their curriculum was tailored to address those issues. So do we have a curriculum that is tailored to address the issues of Nigeria, to address corruption? Are we training children that are able to understand the Nigeria peculiar Senate system? Yes. Not learning about the parliamentary system in England, not learning about the Republicans and the Democrats in the US, but actually understanding how the Senate, we have a Senate that they throw chairs, they argue, everything. It is different. So why don't we train our children to be able to handle that, so that by the time they are getting into the Senate, they can everything. I mean, I'm so glad someone else is saying this. Honestly, it is really, really refreshing. Thank you really for that. Yes, so it's really about addressing that. So as a school, so you talked about us as a nation. So as a school or as school leaders, what would you like us to look into?
I think as school leaders, again, everyone is doing to an extent. I mean, for your private schools, everyone is doing their own thing to an extent, but you're still in a nation. You're still in the nation of Nigeria. So even if you're running an international curriculum, I think we should also, again, agree the kind of people we want to produce and release. And it again, it sounds very general. An example, my primary school, I schooled in Venezuela. In Venezuela, Africa, yes, and I'm much older, but I remember some of the things that they taught. I can recite the national anthem. I know everything about the Venezuelan leaders, the presidents, how their money. And from 8 years to 10 years. It's a very long time ago. Okay, but they built it, and it was an international school. a British school, but you're in Venezuela. So you must learn about the culture about Venezuela. You sing the national anthem basically every day. We do the whole flag thing. I mean, I probably, I could have, I fell in love with the country because they put it's so infused in you. It's very much infused in you. So I feel as school leaders, it's also very important to know what's going on in the world. Like look at the coronavirus. I another example I'll give before I talk. I was looking at my notes because I just finished my master's program, and in January, in my global class, the tutor had said, he made a comment that we need to find out the Chinese need to find a cure for their virus so that they can run business in China. And I had it in my and then I looked at it again in March, and I was like, this thing that happened there has turned the whole world upside down. Okay, so I think it's really important. Like what you did with the beginning of this show is beautiful. Imagine if the children, maybe every morning or whatever it is, they're discussing contemporary issues. What are the things? Let every school be involved in involving their children in thinking about solutions. So it should be part of the lifestyle. So whatever subject, if you want to do 20 subjects or 100, that's fine. But I think there should be those integral things that we're all doing. We are all looking at problems around us, and instead of complaining and going, Niger, we should even stop. Don't even allow anyone in any school. Let's not even make it let's stop all that thing. Maybe the light goes off or PHCN or whatever. Most people shout, Niger, NEPA, and all that. Let's see if as schools we can agree on the kind of things we want to put in these children, and then let them also develop the extracurricular skills. I'm a big every time my children were in school, one of the first things I would ask when I get there is not only about the academics. In fact, it was hardly about academics. I would always ask about what do you have for the extracurricular? What do you have for that? And now I see them excelling they're using the extracurricular strengths to also excel in their personal life. So I think extracurricular and co-curricular and every aspect of the external part of the curriculum should be taken just as seriously as your academics. Okay, and then we should be able to innate curiosity. Don't kill it from the early years to secondary. Let people go out, look at problems, and say, like I always say, ask the question: how come over all these years we've still had electricity issues but nobody has actually. I don't know. I'm sure people have. Maybe they've tried, but we have so many brilliant people in all our schools. How come no one has looked at these issues? Yes. So if we can come together, look at the issues in the country, even in the world, let everyone involved in that problem solving, critical thinking. Those skills are vital. Let people come together and collaborate. Imagine your schools coming together, looking at maybe some of the things that have happened in the world, and then they're discussing their debates, and they go back and take this the points that they have learned and see how to solve things. So I think as school leaders, we should give very strong attention to those extracurricular skills. I don't like calling them that because I feel that they're so much more important. But the activities, the extracurricular, the expression, the infuse all those things into everyday life in a school. Make it ask children questions instead of just saying, "Oh, how are you? What new thing have you thought of today? What any ideas come to you of something we can solve in the nation?" Let that be like the language of every school, asking children that, let them walk around looking at things and see that I could actually think of an idea, so that people have that in their mindset. Everyone is thinking of ways to make things different
and begin to see it as our Nigeria. This is my country. I want it to be a place I would be proud of, and all of that. I mean, that is very enlightening. Before, I don't know, Emmanuel, are you ready for us? We have one of our students that wants to play the violin. We need a bit of twinkle, twinkle to start in our Mr.
Hello, my name is Alfreda Kuti. My favorite instrument is the violin, and today I'm going to be playing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star.
Oh, that was beautiful. Wow.
That was beautiful. Well done, Alfreda Quitty. That was really nice. I think we just need that little twinkle, twinkle, little star. And I'm so enjoying this talking to you. This is really interesting. I like the aspect you're bringing to this, and really, so a quest for perfect education. I mean, it's like, as we're discussing, the jigsaw, the puzzles are coming together, and these are the things that would bring a perfect education to our system, an education that is tailored to the needs of Nigeria, and an educational system that will close the gaps in for us in Nigeria.
Yes. Yeah. I think that's that's really true. I use the term because that's I know it's gotten from the name of my my book, and what it is that I think everyone from whatever level, whether you're the person who is struggling to pay the 2,500 naira school fees to the person do the 52,000 pounds or dollars, everyone is searching for that. It's a pursuit. Everyone is just trying to get better. You want to improve.
Yes.
And when you see the woman selling akara who, comes out the 500 naira to try and pay for her child, she's just trying to see it, just trying to see the prospects, and you just want something. So everyone in general, everyone who is a functional member of any society, yeah, they're in that pursuit, and it becomes perfect or it becomes suitable when it actually is a match for you and is able to bring out the best in you. Because you find, like, I love it when I see children playing instruments. I think I was like, go on, tell my children, I don't understand none of you, only one person has picked the guitar, and I'm like, I wanted all of you to play instruments, and we're always teasing them, but everyone has their own diverse.
Yes.
And if you don't expose them to what you want, so if you don't have in your setting, sometimes you really don't know that some children can do so much more than they can do. So
very true.
Yeah, so perfect education is the child may not get all A's, the child may not come out with top grades, but then they have skills like dance skills or the child, and then you find them in the future. Now the president has opened one of the biggest dance schools in the country.
Very true.
Yes, so the perfect education is that we're projecting that these children would grow to be excellent contributors to society. They would in their own, and that's why we want to encourage parents and even schools to make that investment, put them in the where they can be exposed to these beautiful skills. The swimming, everyone has something to give, and if they're not in the place, they have the chance to also explore all this, then we may never.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Thank you, Cozy Loretta, as well. She said, well done, boys. Self teaches our children all they need, both academic and extracurricular activities. And Alfred has just proven that as well. I mean, like you said, it's important that you expose them to all of it, and then they begin to find their strengths and begin to also know their weaknesses. And one of the things I think is also lacking is the fact that we look down on vocational and embrace so much on the intellectual, and the country needs a balance. Life needs a balance of that. For some of the children, they are going to thrive in the vocationals, and the vocationals are just as important. Imagine a world without music. Imagine a world where we can't make our hair. Imagine where we can't get jewelries, we can't wear lovely clothes, and it's all about being intellectual. So it's a balance, and it does not also mean that they would not be successful or not. Yes, so it's really about them finding their forte and then growing and being secure. So putting on the the art of the educator now, it is important as well that parents embrace that and not necessarily flog and bend their children towards just academics, but also embracing vocational. That brings me to something you mentioned right there. We want to know about your book. What inspired you to write your book, and what is it about?
Oh, thank you so much for that. Yeah, so I wrote a book in July, or rather, I released the book in July, published in July, called "In Quest of the Perfect Education," and it actually follows the lives of a family that just relocated and they're trying to find the school for their four children, and so it shows her experience going to different schools, meeting other parents who are also on that quest. So, but at the same time, they're learning nuggets at the end of every chapter. And what it is that over the years, one of the first things we did in business was we created the directory of schools. So we have 6 editions. I think it's the only directory of schools in Abuja that we know of.
Wow.
So one of the first things we did was that we're going around to schools because people would always call us, oh, I'm moving back to Nigeria. I'm looking for a school for my child. And then I'd have to start writing out these schools, you know. So we went through the whole process, try to gather information on schools. And then we take out time because we also do training programs. We go into schools, you know, just to know so that when people call me and say, I'm looking for a school for my child that does this or that has this aspect, we're able to give them informed information. Okay. So what it was is that I wanted a light way of showing my everything about what it is that we do, especially the part that, you know, I usually say I'm a customer experience advocate. So there's some experiences in the book where the family had to go to a school, everything was beautiful, but then when they related with some of the stuff, you know, those things that are the real
Yes,
things,
yes,
yeah, the real kind of stuff that we face. And then I have some proprietary tools I created at the end, and then a parent identifier tool, so parents
I
can
like that.
parents can do a quiz and find out, you know, their type of parent, type of parent that they are. So I think it was fun. I was enjoying myself because the characters became very real, and some people will call me and say, why is that woman so annoying, you know? And I'll be like, which woman? I think yeah. So the aim is just,
Wow.
yes, to show schools that, especially, you know, the relationship with parents and school and educators rather was very glaringly shown during the pandemic. When the pandemic happened and we had the lockdown, in many places, you know, when schools were like, okay, we're doing online, and some parents were like, why is it not free? And then schools were, can it be free when we're paying, you know? And then we just realized that there was that disconnect had always been there, but it was more glaring because
Yeah,
if
very true.
that is running their facilities and say, give it to us for free. And then, and it's a universal thing. It's everywhere in the world. You know, schools are thinking, are you guys joking? We have to pay bills. We have to still pay for things, you know? So we realize
Very
that
true.
they don't always understand from the outside. They haven't probably understood what it is to.
What's going on the inside? Yes, very true. Very true. Do you find out, having worked with parents and putting all this together, do you find that there a difference between parents in diaspora and parents here? Are their reactions to school, is it the same?
I think the funny thing is this pandemic showed that, especially with, you know, from the humorous side, when you see all the memes all over the world where parents are almost pulling out their hair. In fact, there's one my brother sent me today where the mother was like, oh my, she was a white lady, and she was like, oh, she was going to throw something at the child because 5 take away, you know, 2, and the child was like, I don't know, 2, you know, and so it was really funny, and I laugh at all these things, but then you just find that everywhere.
Very true.
Interviewed educators from all over, just in passing, you know, we had a lot of live sessions. We've interviewed educators, and the cry about it's the same thing for everyone. They're struggling to meet up, you know, we're doing remote learning or not remote. So the cry has been the same in terms of what we're going through. I just like that a parent is a parent.
Exactly. I think for the first time it was a wake-up call to parents to actually know what was going on in the classroom. And then the children come back home and then they think it's all been easy. What has the teacher been doing? I think they really got to appreciate the teachers and know that a lot is being put into place for their children. Thank you for that. It was really good. So if you were the education minister or commissioner for education, what kind of agenda will you champion?
I'm trying to see what Minister of Education, my goodness, I hope not. Because I'll probably throw all all the documents out and start.
I bet.
To see what
I bet.
I can imagine. I think what I would love to do is pull resources together to really go back in and explore, to do the groundwork, not too much of the paperwork. I would love to know that I have enough resources to go from state to state to state to see these schools, not announcing it so that they're not, how when you announce and say the minister is coming and they start painting what they were supposed to do. I feel it'd be nice to go real schools, see how these things are done, start from there, take it from there, and then establish an actual sustainable plan. So if I knew that it cost me, for example, 2.5 million or 7.5 million to run one public school, okay, and I plan and I know exactly how it's supposed to be, I would like to know what exactly the cost of education per child in Nigeria is. I think that's something I really want to know. I would want to go really into the public sector because that's the highest percentage that we have, and that's the struggling.
Yes.
Part, yeah. So I'd want to know what it is that we can do. What else can we do to bring in income, to generate income, even within our public schools, instead of waiting for the government all the time? Because they all have lovely expanses of land,
They do. They do, yes.
Yeah, I think I would love to be very actively involved, go into these schools, divide Nigeria, create a whole plan, raise a team, bring together the private educators like you and people who are passionate about Nigeria, bring them all on board. And then we now divide ourselves and find what we can do, create a plan, look at what we're looking for in the public schools, come back, talk, go back again and see what we can change. But I think I would just like to do some, so not too much sitting down and having speeches and all that.
Interesting. Would you look at the curriculum?
I'll look at the curriculum.
Your expertise in curriculum, is there anything in the curriculum that you would like to change or you would like to add?
I think I would look more at the teacher development curriculum. That's the teacher training curriculum.
Okay.
Because even if we gave our local teachers, for example, the Singaporean or Finnish curriculum, if they don't have that expertise, they don't have the capacity, it's going to be the same thing. So it might not be. I mean, we have projects where we have projects ongoing in local communities in Kano, where some places we go to, there's no furniture, nothing. But we pick up sticks, use sand. We just try and get teachers to understand. Listen, there's no limit. Pick up something. Bring this chair now. I can show you 10 things we can do with a chair and teach a lesson. So I think the curriculum is important, but if the teachers don't even know what to do with it, I think I'd rather start with the colleges of education, see exactly what it is that they are teaching these teachers in the first place, and then bring back that validation to the education. I think
fantastic.
Might be more with the quality of teachers we have.
Yes. Okay.
And once you build up their quality, then they themselves can
automatically transfer to the children. Fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah. What do you think about the issue of language as well? Do you think there should be anything about a language? We speak in English definitely and everything. Do you think language will play a role in it? Do you think I once did a study during my master's on language and teaching of mathematics in Brazil. And there was a huge difference between when they were being taught in English and when they changed to the native language in there, and how the children were able to pick up faster, because of course we do not accept it, but we have a lot of EAL in Nigeria, and so in fact we're more of an EAL country, but we do not accept it. We actually believe that it is our first language rather than as a second language for us, as an additional language for us and everything. So do you think it plays a role in learning, in assimilation, and also in the impact in the country as a whole? I mean, one of the arguments has been the languages in Nigeria is really diverse. So I'm still putting on you the hat of a minister for education. Now, you're still putting on that hat. Do you think language plays a role? Is this something you would want to dabble into, or you think really we should just be completely comfortable with being strict with the English language.
Okay, thank you. First, I didn't do my acceptance for the ministerial appointment.
Minister Okpashi.
Thank you very much for that. Yeah, very interesting. I think that's a lovely point. I actually strongly believe in the power of the mother tongue in many aspects, because again, the teachers that we're producing, I will use the example of the North again. Many of them do not even speak English in the first place. So they're doing lessons where they're saying things like, we had a lesson, the teacher was like, cycle, so you don't speak English in the first place. So why don't we just use your, because I think we have sometimes mistaken the fact that when you speak the local dialect, people feel that you don't have intelligence, or you don't have sense, or you're not educated. But when you finally understand what it is that they're teaching in that dialect, you realize that they have dissected that thing in detail better than what they can do in English. So if English is going to be something that is drawing us back, then again, because Nigeria is so big, we might not say it as a whole country. There's some parts of the country where we might not be able to achieve teaching in English. So I feel we should be able to, the mother tongue is there. The children are able to communicate. They're able to be functional, go to the market and speak their language. They're able to do business in that language. So they might as well start from there. And then gradually, as they're doing that, we can expose them to resources in English where they can also try and build up their English content. But if English is going to be what is pulling them back, I feel we should go straight in, begin to create sources in our local dialects, so that these people can learn. The aim is that we want everyone to be, we want every child to grow. We want every Nigerian child to have a chance. We want every Nigerian child to be successful. And so if speaking English is actually a very difficult, it's actually quite a difficult language. So English is going to be a problem. Teach in Yoruba, teach in Sufridi, teach in how to gather resources that we use there, and then teach English to them gradually, gradually up their learning. So I don't know if people say it should be English, but English is, if you're exposed to the language and you think about it, if you're not speaking English at home, your family doesn't speak English, your community doesn't speak English, it's quite hard for you to actually digest the in that.
Very true. Very true. I also once observed a public school lesson, and I saw the teacher really struggling. I felt she would have been relieved if I'd just gone to her and said, you know what, you can actually teach that in Yoruba, because she was really struggling, and I could tell that she knows what she wanted to do.
Thank you.
Probably we were not observing that lesson, maybe she would have just gone into the nitty-gritty and say, "Whoa, and she would just go into the Yoruba dialect. But I could see, and then I could see the children were sitting and they were struggling as well. So I also believe that is an aspect that we need to look at in our quest for perfect education in Nigeria. I once met a maths teacher from Finland, and she teaches maths at master's and PhD level. And she said in secondary, she can still manage with a bit of English, but by the time she's teaching in master's, she can only teach in Finnish because she can't explain it to the nitty-gritty in English. She just kept telling me it's difficult. There are some concepts I really can't break down. I have to speak in Finnish. So, and at that point, I sat back and I said, look, and they're not doing less. They're not doing lesser than we are. They're even doing better than we are. Everyone has gone to study the system. I mean, look at Singapore as well. At a point, as well, they actually it was a rule that they had to learn with their language. And these countries, it has established them over time. New Zealand as well has had to do a lot with that as well. So really, it is really a sore point for me, even though I know that we have very diverse culture. I mean, just within the Yoruba tribe, we have about 10 different languages just within Yoruba. But also what I've noticed as well is that for each of our tribes as well, we usually have one language everywhere.
Yeah.
So we have the Yoruba that everybody can speak, everybody understand. Then we have the nitty-gritty ones that are, I mean, particular to the Ijebus, to the Oyos, to the Ilatians, very particular ones on those, but everyone can still speak. So I think if we begin to do that, I also believe that we would move that our quest for the perfect, so like you said, the perfect, yes, education might just be achieved. I like the fact that you've done so much. I mean, with the parents looking at how they think, their psyche, and all of that. I also believe that even with parents in Nigeria and with this, and coming from England as well, their expectations of schools and everything. So I think I will also just encourage a lot of people to read your books. How can they gain access to it? Because I think it's a knowledge that needs to be shared. And
thank you.
How can we gain access in Lagos and Nigeria here?
Okay, I have my name, right? mmopashi.com on my website. You can actually they can actually order. We have a Lagos person and someone who's delivering around the country. So we've had them delivered.
Excellent.
But I can type in area too. It's available on Amazon.
Beautiful. Because yes, it's really enlightening to know that that is also available, and also the service of rendering. It's nice to know that that is available in Nigeria and everything, that we could go in and check and look at the books and all of that. It's really fantastic. I'm really proud of what you're doing. You're doing such a fantastic job. We would love to, once you're in Nigeria, please speak with Rotimi, and I know you're listening to me. It's holding you to needs to come to Supreme. We need to meet, and so that we could share some things and unpack some things together. You're doing a fantastic job. If it was left to me, we would just be starting, because there's so much to talk to you. I feel like you're a kindred spirit. So there's so much I really want to talk about. It's unfortunately we're coming to the end of Supreme Leverage this week. It's really has been perfect this evening. Indeed, it is actually the quest for perfect education, and that is what we need now. We need that education by Nigerians for Nigerians, and I think yes, and I think that education for us now, for us, by us, because I never used to be bothered about the system, because really I wasn't in the system. But when I got in, I started thinking about the future of Nigeria, the future. And there's really so much on us, on our generation, to put in place if we want to see a better Nigeria before we exit. So we need that education by Nigerians for Nigerians. It's high time.
Oh my goodness, that should be a hashtag.
It is. I think it should. Yes, it is. It should be a hashtag. Emmanuel, note that down. Education by Nigerians for Nigerians. Honestly, because we are the ones that can actually make that difference. We know what we want to see. I want a Nigeria that people would come in as well to study our education system. We want a Nigeria where they say, "What are you doing right?" I remember my first trip to Finland, and the opening address, they said we were not looking at an education for any country. We didn't want to impress anyone. We just wanted to address the ills in our society. And then all of a sudden, this was the exact word. She said, we saw people coming in through the windows, through the roofs, through the doors, coming to observe our education system. And then we thought, we must do something right. So it's not about the British curriculum, the Finnish curriculum. It's about the Nigerian curriculum for the Nigerian needs. The system is polluted, corrupted. You're driving on the roads, all our gutters are filled with debt, gross indiscipline all over and everything. And we still keep releasing graduates every year that are still in discipline. So they're going through school and school is not going through them. So how come after about 15, 16 years in school, by the time we should count university with it, about 20 years, they still come out and they do the same thing that is wrong, the same thing that is not profitable to our system. And so it is up to us to address those. And I'm glad that you're taking a step towards that. So I think we should meet and we all should really look into this and begin to start our own little movement and make it a better Nigeria. We should. It's been an yes, very true. Been a very interesting and enlightening evening. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming on this show. Thank you so much. Hope to see more of you. And to our viewers, thank you for joining us every week. Remember that you could always go back and rewatch. And I always remain your host, Olubukola Adewoye. See you next week on Friday at 5 o'clock. Thank you so much, Ebem, for being with us this evening.
Look forward to meeting you.